Hello, students. Welcome back. Hope you all are doing well. This is week 2 of your English C1000 course. And I wanted to start by discussing your assignment on expository essay. So let's take a look at the assignment. Here's the format. Week 2, you're also going to have an assignment that's going to ask you to read part of the MLA handbook. I'll create a video for that as well. It's not anything too in-depth. The works cited page is going to have your 4 articles. But I wanted to talk first of all about your topic and what an expository essay aims to do. It's different than the other essays you're going to be working on this course because it doesn't try to argue anything necessarily. It's more showcasing information. So it's a chance to learn more about a topic by writing about a topic. And I want to take off from where our discussions of hidden intellectualism have taken us, which many of you have chimed in, and I appreciate that. It looks good. With the idea that the topic is less important than the way you deal with it. So you can choose topics, and as people have come to the office hours, I've been happy to hear some very interesting topics being brainstormed. For example, snakes and ducks as pets was one idea. Somebody was going to discuss social justice in the healthcare system. So yeah, I think, another one was going to discuss baile folklorico, and all of these topics are great starting points. Now, the next step, and hopefully you've started this step, is to do your research. And the way I want you to perform your research is by searching for articles written about your topic. If you just simply search your topic, you're not going to get great sources because AI will intervene, or Wikipedia, or things that are going to try to just give you basic information about the topic. But part of academic writing is joining a conversation, as you will see in the book They Say, I Say, which is going to help guide our work during this course. An academic conversation implies finding sources that have authors. So when you search for articles about your subject, you're going to find more usable sources. You also need to narrow your topic down to a small enough size that your research will cover the topic. For example, social justice in the healthcare system is probably way too big of a topic. You might want to focus on in one county. You might want to focus on one health provider in one county. I think for this first essay, being limited in the scope of the topic is going to help you to organize your thinking around the topic. So you can always expand out from a topic, but it's hard when you have too big of a topic to try to wrestle all the different aspects into a relatively short essay. 1,250 words is not a lot. Double spaced, it's maybe 2 pages. So it's not going to give you a lot of space to make big arguments about big topics. So first of all, think of a topic that interests you, something that you'd like to learn more about. Find 4 good sources that are articles that have an author you can cite, and then summarize those sources and look for good quotations that you could use to build your exposition in your expository essay. Let's see, so when it comes time to write your thesis, you'll write your body paragraphs before you write your introduction, because your thesis is going to depend on what you're going to say about each of the articles that you choose to write about. Now, it makes sense to choose your topic, find your articles, and then summarize the articles. And the summaries are going to be a significant part of your body paragraphs. And in chapter 2 of They Say, I Say, the authors go into detail about how to summarize effectively. It's not just going to be a list of all the things that the author says in their article, but you're trying to tease out what their argument may be. Why do they think it's important? And this is one of the reasons why I'm encouraging you to follow the templates in They Say, I Say, because doing so mitigates the problem a lot of young writers have at the end of their essay, which is the question of so what, or why is this important? And when you start out by summarizing other people's arguments about a topic, then it gives you something to push against. Like, for example, because they say that ducks are only meant to be wild, many people don't realize that ducks could be pets, but if you have the right amount of space and land, then etc., etc. So the so what is answered when you share what other people are saying about the topic, because every topic is subject to debate. And when you identify that there is another side of the debate, then it becomes clear from the beginning why what you have to say is important, because you are weighing in on a debate. You are taking part in a conversation. You're not just stating things that are interesting to you, but what you're sharing has relevance because it's a contested topic. Now, in your first essay, your expository essay, that doesn't have to be as explicit. It can be more simply showing the reader what you want them to see. And in the next couple of essays, we're going to get more pointed in our claims. Still, you're going to want to figure out what you have to say about each of the 4 articles before you write your introduction, because you're going to need to write your thesis statement, which is a roadmap of your article, of your essay rather, and you'll need to know where you're going to go before you can state that. So do the work of paraphrasing the 4 articles, and then begin to put them together by sequencing them in a way that the reader will find illuminating. So whatever your topic is, you're going to be sharing your findings about the topic. And once you have written your 4 body paragraphs, which maybe provide a context give us some evidence in the form of quotations, analyze why you think that particular evidence is useful, how it shows you more about the topic, and transition. And when you have all four of those complete, you can write your introduction by creating an interesting hook for the reader, which is trying to grab their attention from the beginning. And then you're going to explain the context of your essay, which will delve deeper into the topic, but in a sort of general way. You're gonna state what the topic is that you're going to be discussing, and then your thesis statement is going to provide information about your sources and your main points of each paragraph. All right, so this essay is due 1 week from today, so I suggest that you get started on it immediately if you haven't already. I think this week's readings are fairly light, and I'll have videos helping you to get through those readings. We've got Some Dreamers of the Golden Dream by Joan Didion, with a really interesting article written by one of the people she writes about. So that one is pretty fun, I think, and shows you really good expository writing. And your 3 chapters of this book, which should go pretty quickly, and the MLA handbook, which is pretty easy information to absorb. So most of your week should be spent writing your essay. And just make sure that you create a works cited list with your articles. All right, looking forward to seeing what you all come up with. And this week's Zoom office hours will be Monday and Wednesday, 5:15 to 5:55. So stop on by, say hi, get some help. All right. Hope you have a great week. I'll see you soon.